Okay, we're ready to go. All right, good afternoon. Oh, sorry. Councilman, take your time. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mayor Paulette Guajardo, and today we've convened our state representatives, Todd Hunter and Abel Herrero, Chief of Staff, Luis Moreno with Senator Chuy Hinojosa's office, TxDOT District Engineer, Valente Olivares, Nueces County Judge, Barbara Canales, Corpus Christi City Manager Peter Zanoni, and Charlie Zahn, Chairman of the Port Commission. So today we're here to discuss the news that we all learned yesterday regarding the recent development with the new Harbor Bridge project. Our elected officials are united in our belief that the safety of this project is our single most important and overriding concern. There is nothing more important than public safety. We're here today to provide more information, allow the media to ask questions, and to ask TxDOT for greater transparency. The people have the right to complete information about the biggest project that impacts the safety of residents and the local economy. Moving forward, the public must receive information that is accurate and timely, and builds trust in the process. We also must restore public confidence in the safety of the new Harbor Bridge. Over 50,000 people drive across that bridge or across the channel between Corpus Christi and Portland. When we drive across the new Harbor Bridge, we must rely on TxDOT to ensure the highest standards of safety are achieved. And so safety, again, must be guaranteed in the building of the new Harbor Bridge. Today, we stand together, we stand united. We absolutely agree that that is of priority and that must be attained. So we stand in unison today before you all together. We understand that yesterday there was a press conference, but none of the officials that you see here today were present at that press conference, and we believe that it is important that you hear directly from us and that every entity that's behind me here make a statement in regards to the events that are happening, that happened yesterday and will continue moving forward. So with that, I'm going to invite Senator Hinojosa's Chief of Staff, Luis Moreno, to the podium to make his statement on behalf of the Senator. Luis.
Thank you, Mayor, for bringing us here today. And unfortunately, Senator Hinojosa could not be here today. He sent me this statement earlier so that we could present it to you all today. The Harbor Bridge Replacement Project continues being not only one of the state's biggest projects, but it is also of significant importance to our country, given its proximity to the Port of Corpus Christi and the economic growth that is taking place in this region. While I am disappointed in another delay due to Flatiron Dragados refusing to address the safety concerns identified by the independent engineers, we understand that this is a major $1 billion project and is one of the longest concrete cable stay bridges being built in North America. I appreciate Mark Williams, Executive Director of TxDOT, being here yesterday and publicly stating his continued commitment to this project, to its funding without additional burden to our local transportation funds or governmental entities, and to continue being transparent as we move forward. As a delegation, we expect nothing less. Flatiron has 15 days to respond and address the concerns identified, and if they don't, we have a commitment from TxDOT to move as quickly as possible to safely complete the new bridge and take care of the needs of our community. Our delegation will continue working together, working with our public officials, and working with TxDOT to complete this project. It's now my pleasure to introduce Chairman Todd Hunter.
Let's just call this like it is. We keep calling it the Harbor Bridge. It's not a bridge. It's a big gap. Till we finish it, till it gets built, it's not even a bridge. We got a lot of media in here. We got a lot of public representatives. You need pure disclosure and transparency. Yeah, we got a 15-day legal situation. I want full transparency. You're taxpayers. You need the information. I have people coming to me right now scared to even drive over on the area. That is not the. the message we want to send from the coast. Number one, pure transparency, pure disclosure. Public needs the information. Second, this isn't supposed to be an obstacle course for the public and the media to get information. This is safety. I have people right now don't even want to go over the bridge, the one that is completed. Third, the delegation, Nueces County delegation, state, has been told and affirmed that any cost overrun will not be borne by our local governmental areas. That's good news. But when is this going to be finished, and what is the problem? We can keep having press conferences. We can keep having rap sessions. What's the problem? You deserve it. You pay the taxes. And then my question, which I will ask every day, what is the timeline? What is the deadline? Is it 5 years, 10 years? Tell us. We deserve to know. We're in the middle of hurricane season. And let's make sure we're prepared. We can keep sending these notices, but I want to know, are we prepared? Finally, what should we do? Well, let me tell you what I'm considering as a legislator. First, we need to expand the delegation, the coastal delegation. This harbor sometime finished bridge needs to involve the legislators from the surrounding counties. So I'm going to talk with Representative Herrero, Senator Hinojosa about expanding the legislative input for our region. That's important. Second, maybe it's time to have a hearing. Maybe it's time to have a town hall. Maybe that's the best way to be transparent and get information. Maybe that's a great way to let the taxpayers have some involvement. So these are things I want all of you listening and watching to give me your reaction. Is this something that's constructive? But I think it needs to be looked at. Bottom line, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure we get this on the right schedule, that you get full information. And I want to be able to say it's a harbor bridge, not a hope to be someday harbor bridge. This time I'll call Representative Herrero.
Thank you, Todd. Everybody, good morning. It would be an understatement to say that we are disappointed to be having these press conferences, but it's a reality. And obviously we've heard that it is safety, and that is a priority. Safety is an utmost priority, especially when you consider the construction of a pathway where thousands upon hundreds of thousands of individuals will be utilizing. So the construction of this new harbor bridge needs to be certain that it is safe bridge to be utilized once completed, and in the construction process as well. But one thing that I've echoed vehemently with TxDOT is the safety of the existing harbor bridge. As we know now, the harbor bridge as it exists will be utilized for a longer period of time than was anticipated. And so we are making certain that TxDOT ensures the integrity of the existing harbor bridge. And any costs associated with the delays, a redesign, none of those would be borne by local entities, you, the taxpaying individuals. TxDOT has assured us of that, indicated to us that. In speaking with local elected officials, they've asked for a written statement, commitment, I would say contract to that effect. To me, those are reasonable requests that I would encourage, ask, and demand that TxDOT provide, because you should be able to back up what you're saying. And so I would ask TxDOT to put in writing the fact that none of you as taxpaying individuals would have to bear any additional costs related to the delays, redesign, and construction of the harbor bridge. The other is transparency. A lot of what has been said has slowly come out to be told. And in a delegation meeting that we had in a conference call with TxDOT, I implored them that despite the indications that they may be getting from their general counsels, that at this point, it's not a matter of whether or not it is a legal decision to be made. It is the right decision to be made, and that is to inform the general public, everyone, of where we are in this situation and why we are in this situation. The discussion of safety obviously is one of the concerns, but what exactly is it that we're arguing about? And how can that be fixed? And what's the extent to which a redesign will need to be implemented? All of those are things that we know and understand as transparency and openness, and we will demand that TxDOT continue to do so. The press conference that they had yesterday is in response, I believe, to the concerns and open records requests from media, as well as the demands that we've made as a delegation. And I thank TxDOT for beginning those discussions with you directly, but I encourage and ask and demand that they continue to do so. And to add further to that, I will introduce now our local TxDOT district engineer, Valente Olivares, and ask him to expand on any comments that were made yesterday. And then he, as an individual, has always made himself readily available and answered questions. And we have to then require TxDOT to be more forthcoming in the information that he is authorized to release to you as an entity. So with that being said, I'd like now to introduce our TxDOT District Engineer for Corpus Christi area, Valente Olivares.
Thank you, Representative. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to be here to address you today. So I'm glad Mayor and Judge Canales reached out to me and asked me to be here. As you're aware, we had a press conference yesterday where we laid out some of the steps for a notice of default that's occurring with Flatiron Dragados on the Harbor Bridge. So our Executive Director, Mark Williams, was here yesterday and fielded some questions, kind of laid out what was going on the project itself, some of the issues, maybe 5 critical points that were brought up by our independent reviewer that we felt was an impasse. We came to an impasse with Flatiron Dragados in being able to resolve them. So I would encourage you to get onto our Corpus Christi District TxDOT website and view the 30-minute press conference that has questions and answers in there as well, because a lot of the information or questions that were brought up is answered there by our executive director, which is at the highest level for TxDOT. So our commitment to finishing this project is, again, at the highest level, and we plan to do that as well. But we also want to tell the public that with this commitment of finishing the project, I think the first step we took yesterday with the notice of default to the contractor about finishing this, about fixing the safety concerns that they have, is the first step for that commitment to show itself on safety, right? We're not just going to finish a project. We're not going to turn away if we see issues that we think need to be resolved just to finish the project on time. And we're going to hold safety, as you heard here from others. We're going to hold that at the utmost responsibility for us and whatever contractor we have finishing this project. So again, our commitment to finishing the project, our commitment to safety on this project, and our commitment to keeping the existing harbor bridge inspected and maintained. So if you watch the press conference, we did mention that this existing harbor bridge has not stopped the inspections, the periodic inspections that have been occurring during the construction of this project. So as long as this existing bridge has direct traffic on it, we will continue our inspections and also schedule any maintenance work, any maintenance type projects that need to occur to be able to fix what we find. So an example of that is we will have a maintenance project that will go out to bid here in October and begin construction either at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. So reiterate what Mark Williams, our executive director, said yesterday. We are fully committed to finishing this project. We're fully committed in doing this safely. We're fully committed on bearing the cost of the overruns that may occur, but also holding the Flatiron Dragados responsible contractually for any of those responsibilities of overruns as well. So I appreciate the invitation. I know it's some difficult discussions. Believe me, we are as disappointed as others to be in this situation and have to take these steps, because I myself drive across this bridge twice a day, so I want it completed as soon as possible as well. So I am a local here. I feel the frustrations. I see the frustrations, and we're going to do our very best to make sure that we keep sharing information with our local entities, our state delegation, and with our public, so they're aware of where we're at on this project. So again, thank you for the invitation to be here. And I'd like to now introduce Nueces County Judge Barbara Canales.
Thank you, Valente, and good afternoon to everybody. So much of what I was going to remark on really has already been said, but let me just highlight for you a little bit of the timeline. First, my thanks on behalf of Nueces County to our mayor for not just hosting us, but for bringing us together. It is rare that we occupy chambers together, but if you'll note, it is always when unity is called for. And that is really the symbol that I see here today, not only with city councilmen, our port, city manager, mayor, our delegation, both from the Senate and the House, but it should symbolize to you that we bring a unified message. And the 2 points that have already been highlighted that were of high notes for myself is that the mayor and I yesterday at 3 p.m., along with Chairman Zahn, Peter Zanoni, our city manager, had the opportunity, I left out Sean Strawbridge as well, was present on the call. We had the opportunity to hear from TxDOT at 3 p.m. We explained to them that this was a little bit late as far as the information gathering occurred, and that was something that we needed to work on. And so I'm very pleased to report, not only visiting with Mark Williams, the executive director, but also with our district engineer, that we do not believe this will happen again. And as a result, we've got our delegation to help us make certain that that does not happen again. Because the opportunity to present that unified message is critical. We were the ones that said we would like to have in writing the commitment of TxDOT to do exactly what they told us on a Zoom meeting. That's what leadership is. It's not to just keep that information to ourselves, but to memorialize it so that the people can know exactly what we know. And I think that that should be forthcoming and would be much appreciated. I'd like to remind everybody that as a metropolitan planning organization, we sit in this very room. We'll sit here in September, where this most likely will be on the agenda. And we sit as a unified delegation on both sides of a bridge. Both San Patricio's County Judge, David Krebs, along with Mayor Scarro, Mayor of Portland, Mayor Guajardo, myself, Valente, Chairman Zahn, and our COG sit as in unity here to discuss our future transportation plans. And because we have worked so well in the past together on our unified transportation plan, I am convinced that this too can be worked out in a unified way. The maintenance that was just spoken about was also a specific note of topic in yesterday's 3 p.m. discussion. Once again, I appreciate very much the emphasis that's been placed not only in their press statement, but in today's dialogue regarding the maintenance of the current bridge. But I think what the mayor and I would both like to see is a timeline and a plan. That way, just like you know which city streets are being closed for good maintenance, we would like to be able to message that out effectively when good maintenance is being done with this bridge. By doing that type of robust 24/7 constant communication, it's more than a strategy to keep you informed. It's the right thing to do. And so again, whether it's the solidification of the promise in writing by TxDOT regarding the MPO's fiscal responsibility, or whether it's the exact timeline of proposed maintenance for our current harbor bridge, those are the types of documents that will restore that integrity and the operative word that the mayor used is so vital, trust. There will come a day when that bridge is complete, and that will be a great day for all of us. I look forward to that day because it symbolizes new jobs, new opportunities, greater economic development, perhaps a place in the record books as the largest North American cable suspension bridge. But until that joyous day, our goal is very simple. Build a safe bridge, we say to you, TxDOT. That is the mission. And it's also very important, I think, for you all to report that neither the city of Portland, the city of Corpus Christi, the county of San Patricio, the county of Nueces are in charge of the design, the contract, the maintenance, the operation, the construction. None of those obligations fall within our purvey. Those are the responsibilities of TxDOT through contract. So we are here today to both symbolize unity for our state of Texas in demanding that we not only have great communication and a safe bridge, but that we also clearly define who has responsibility ultimately. Now, we are stakeholders. We, the county, like the cities, paid dollars into this project. And I want you to know those were hard dollars. Councilman Pusley was Commissioner Pusley. $12 million. And it was a choke moment. It was not easy. We had to go out and borrow money to get those dollars in. And so I tell you that the responsibility here is with our state agency, and we will support our state agency, and we will also require certain things of our state agency. And like we've done for our Texas Unified Plan for the next 10 years, we will do so in an open and public manner. If I had not worked with Valente Olivares, where are you, for so long, I could not say that and feel good about it. But I know he is a man of integrity. I know he sits here at this dais with me, and I know that when we ask for these things, he will take them up to the chain of command. And finally, let me just say, Director Williams has been invited by the mayor and I to come back. He could not be here with us today because he wasn't planning on it. But we asked him to come back because one Zoom meeting does not make for an eternal friendship. We need for him to understand our community even more than he believes that he knows it today. You can see here that nothing has really changed from March 17th, 2020. We're still all in this together. Thank you. Oh, my fault. City Manager Peter Zanoni. Charlie, okay, forgive me. Please welcome to the podium Chairman Charlie Zahn.
Thank you. I want to thank the judge and the mayor for getting this group together. This project is so important to the coastal bend. I want to take just a few minutes to tell you why. I'm chairman of the Port of Corpus Christi Authority, and the Port of Corpus Christi Authority, as you may know, is the #1 energy port in the United States, #1 revenue port in the United States. And we've undertaken in the last 4 or 5 years a major project to deepen and widen our ship channel so that we can accommodate the big ships that are so important to commerce today. An integral part of that piece, though, was to have the harbor bridge completed. And when we put this project together back in 2017, you know, it was our understanding that when we finished the deepening and widening project, that about that same time, we were going to have the harbor bridge finished such that the inner harbor here that's so important to the economy in the coastal bend would be able to accommodate these ships that we're trying to accommodate through the deepening and widening of the ship channel. I would tell you that we have 6 precepts that we believe in and work under in the Port of Corpus Christi. I won't tell you all 6 of them, but I'll tell you what the number 1 is, and that's safety. We start every meeting that we have of the Port Commission with a safety briefing. We have our employees, we tell them that if there's a safety violation, you let somebody know of authority without any fear of retaliation. We believe that safety is of utmost concern, not only for the Port of Corpus Christi, but we believe for the citizens of the coastal bend. And the fact that TxDOT has determined that the construction of this new bridge has some safety concerns is one that we fully support and one that we understand. I want you to know we're disappointed that the delay is going to take place. We know it's going to have an adverse effect on some of the big plans that we have at the Port of Corpus Christi. Everybody's aware that we feel like we're a major part of the economic indicators here in the coastal bend. We have 100,000 people that work directly and indirectly with the Port of Corpus Christi. So we have good jobs in the coastal bend, and these good jobs depend on us continuing to attract business and business entities into the coastal bend. And having the kind of problem that we're having with this bridge, I would tell you, has an adverse effect on our ability to do that. But I want you to know that we support the decision that TxDOT made. We appreciate, I'll say it again, the fact that the mayor and the county judge have shown the leadership that they've shown to bring us together. I've always said, anytime I get the opportunity to speak, that I've got the best legislative delegation in the entire state of Texas, and we appreciate them and their emphasis on making this project complete in a safe manner and in a manner which each one of us here can be proud of and can watch for the near future. So once again, Mayor, once again, Judge, thank you for this opportunity to come and support you and our delegation here as we demand answers and a timeline to finish the major project. Thank you. I want to reintroduce the mayor.
Thank you. With that, thank you, and thank everyone for being here. Is short notice, and we truly appreciate it. That'll conclude the press conference, and thank you all for being a part of it as well.
Aren't going to be, paying for any of this going forward, but who is? According to the contract that we saw between y'all and Flatiron, it's saying that Flatiron would absorb those costs if anything needs to be fixed. Is that true?
Yeah, I think what we've been saying, and Executive Director Mark Williams mentioned yesterday, that the locals would not have to contribute anymore to any of these overruns, which would mean the counties with their original contribution, the MPOs, would not have to contribute anymore. So there are contractual remedies to be able to hold the contractor accountable for any of these overruns, and that's where we plan to look at first.
And I think there was talks about y'all
Concerns that we have, or the safety design, the design itself as well, to make it compliant with our safety standards.
But I think in the contract, it said that y'all were requiring, if there were safety issues, that they had to demolish it, not necessarily fix it.
I think every contract we have with a contractor, if there's any safety concerns, it needs to be fixed. However, in this case, if you're referring to the foundations and towers being demolished, we are not at that point yet. There is a safety concern with them, but in our opinion, there may be a way to be able to salvage what we have out there by redesigning and adding any mitigating efforts to support those.
So let me drill down on that. Specifically, the contract Specifically, the contract states that non-conforming work is required to be removed and replaced by the developer. Yesterday, you released 5 independent engineering reports that detail non-conforming work. And yesterday, the executive director stated that that work was not being required to be removed or replaced. And so our question is, if this is non-conforming work, which the independent
Yes?
it states
Reviewer?
it's non-conforming work, why isn't it not being removed and replaced?
Right, so the term non-conforming work is a catch-all, right? It's a large term there. There could be something small that needs to be removed and replaced on the contract, but in this case, as you're referring to the foundations and the tower and the superstructure, there could be adjustments that you can make to those foundations and tower and superstructure to add, to beef up the structure, to make it compliant. So it's not necessarily have to remove and replace everything that's non-conforming, because they still have the opportunity to redesign and make sure that they bring it up to conformance.
Okay, so for instance, the engineer found that 30 of the drilled shafts would fail under hurricane force winds. How do they fix that?
Correct. So then, and again, that's why we're bringing in another engineer. If in these 15 days, we'll make sure we have that, give the opportunity to the contractor first 15 days to come up with a solution for it. If we bring somebody else in, our thoughts are, even from our bridge division director, that there may be a way to expand the footprint of the foundation, add additional drill shafts to be able to support the tower itself.
But you have to understand from the public's perspective that these are significant issues, right?
Absolutely.
That are significant safety concerns, and if the contract says it has to be done right in the first place, why is TxDOT not holding them accountable for, you've paid $803 million for this project, why are you not requiring that it be redone and done correctly?
I think the redone part, there's an opportunity to add to it. So it's not, the design itself we're saying is deficient, maybe with the amount of drill shafts or the size of the cap. So if you give them the opportunity to fix that, the opportunity is not just to remove everything, but add to it to make it, to bring it up to standard and make sure the design is strong enough to withstand the wind loads that you brought up.
I just have one additional follow-up question. TxDOT was required to have monthly meetings and monthly reports. You said that you became aware that you had problems several months ago. If you had monthly meetings with Flatiron Dragados and monthly reports, why did it become such a major problem so quickly, or why was it not addressed?
The monthly meetings, I'm not aware of the monthly meetings that you're referring to. I think there's steering committee meetings every week, actually, within the contract or within the formation of the team that's developer and TxDOT. So again, these concerns have been brought up for a while, but it wasn't until we had the independent reviewers' final results and the sign and seal results showing us that we do have a true issue out there. And then I think it was 22 or 23 items that were brought up, especially focusing on 5 critical items, which were the foundation, towers, and superstructure. So although they are talked about, we got to a point where we have an analysis from an unbiased third-party independent reviewer that we feel very comfortable that our concerns have been validated through this.
Valente, I have a question for you. One of the problems we've had is communication. Has TxDOT actually outlined a plan to communicate progress, even in this 15 days, with the city, the county, the port? We keep hearing various things, and then we don't hear about the updates.
Sure. That's fair. I think the communication plan started with the notification of the notice of default and the press conference that we had yesterday, and me being here today as well, right, unified with the local leaders that you have here. So they have our commitment on, as major items come up, I will reach out to the local elected officials, our state delegation, let them know this is where we are at, right? So we don't have a schedule, other than my state delegation scheduled weekly call just to make sure that they're aware of where we're at ongoing. But I do reach out to Judge Canales, Mayor Guajardo, and let them know when we have some major items coming up. Look, this is where we're at, this is what we're expecting.
So the
And Sean
delegation
as
now
well.
is getting informed each week, not every 2 weeks. Is that correct?
Every 2 weeks, but the way it's been occurring here these last, with the movements and what's been coming up here these last few weeks, it's weekly that I've been letting them know. But yes, we do have it, we actually had, prior to that, on the calendar every month, and then we increased it to 2 weeks, but because of the way everything was moving here quickly, we've been talking weekly.
Thank you.
The delegation, Brian, just like I told you all, it's every 2 weeks. This week, because of the letter, they started communicating. The mayor and I just talked, I'm sure the judge will agree. I think now it's time to have a regular local public official update. And especially while we're in hurricane season, I'm going to keep pushing that button. But the communication needs to be increased, and I'm going to coordinate with our officials here today on a regular basis. And the information needs to be completely open to the public, media, everybody. I mean, this is no longer a maze of getting information. But I wanted to clarify, they have kept, but you're going to see a lot more just because of the notice came out.
Thank you, Todd. And Chairman Zahn, one last thing. How serious is this delay in finishing the bridge for contracts for Permian Basin oil imports and exports?
Well, I would tell you that the press releases that we've issued lately have told you that we've had monthly, quarterly, and 6-month record revenues at the Port of Corpus Christi, so we're still doing all right. But from a long-range planning standpoint, when I get my planning staff together and we look to the future, we look to diversification of cargoes in the Port of Corpus Christi, we go out into the business world trying to attract people, it is a deterrent to what we're trying to do long-term. What the overall effect is, we don't feel right now, but we are concerned about it. We are meeting about it. We discussed it yesterday in our Port Commission meeting. We've discussed it almost monthly. I want to say one other thing about Valenti also. I would tell you, he doesn't talk to me once a week, but he probably talks to me about every 10 days about what's going on also. So he keeps me and I keep the port informed on where we are with TxDOT.
So
Mr. Olivares.
I'm sorry?
no, yeah.
Chase Rogers with the Corpus Christi Caller Times. I found that there's still quite a bit of ambiguity on the timeline on when these concerns were first raised. The timeline that was presented by Executive Williams yesterday said that these concerns were raised in an April notice of nonconforming work, and then letters that we had received via open records request said that they were raised even earlier than that in June 2021. Pressed on that, he mentioned that there were concerns even in 2018, 2019, when FIG was still on the project. When exactly did these concerns come up? And with the latest news release and with the April non-conforming work, it appears that it caught a lot of local officials off their feet, and it came to their surprise. Were they informed of those concerns? And with what frequency were they updated about those concerns?
Sure. Fair question. And I'll start with make sure everybody understands that this is a design-build project and not a design-bid-build project, which means the design and construction is occurring simultaneously. So the concerns that we found actually date back before 2021, I think the date you said, and I think Executive Director Williams stated that as well. We're probably looking back into 2017, where some of the concerns were brought up during the FIG design. And if you remember, we had Flatiron Dragados, work with Flatiron Dragados to remove FIG from the project. And actually during those design conversations or concerns that we were having that we were bringing up, because they're the engineer of record, right? This is their design. We didn't feel comfortable. I mean, they gave us information, they gave us assurances that the design was good, but in the background, we asked our bridge division, or the bridge division hired an independent reviewer to start putting a full analysis of the bridge together. However, FIG didn't have a full design because they were removed. So when Arab came in, they started providing us their design, because if you remember, they came in 2020, and actually we started seeing designs in 2021. So our independent reviewer started analyzing those full designs and came up with a signed and sealed document to us to provide to us in April that we share with Flatiron Dragados as soon as we had it, to let them know that we had some non-conforming work. So it's no longer our opinions in our reviews of these concerns, and that was a non-biased independent reviewer that came in and said, we do have a problem here.
A follow-up question. In the notice of non-conforming work, I think it gave them a 10-day period to respond to that, and it appears that they hadn't done so. Two questions. Why is TxDOT waiting until, this most recent press release to kind of take formal action in that? And then two, if these concerns were already raised, was there no mechanism for TxDOT to step in earlier before work had already been done? And as other questions alluded to, could potentially result in some of that work being torn down and redone.
Sure. So the first question, can you repeat the first question again?
Yeah, the first question, the notice of non-conforming work, if
Yes,
I
so
recall from the
notice of-
timeline, gives a
right,
10-day period for them to respond to it.
Correct. So the notice of non-conforming work that we sent them gives them 10 days to respond, fix, or give us a schedule that says they will take care of the issue, right? So we understand it's a complicated issue once they receive that analysis from us. So we allowed some time to be able to have some interaction between the Arup CFC and IBT, which is our independent reviewer. So that time that you see there, obviously, it's not easy just to say, okay, within 10 days, review the report and give us a resolution. I think it was fair, like we do with any other contractor, give them the ability to be able to see if we can come to resolution, and that's why that time spent there going back and forth in our interactions was given.
And just to follow up, and this will be final question, and to rephrase and be more concise with the second part of that, was there no mechanism for TxDOT to step in earlier if these concerns were, first raised in 2018, 2019? We're talking about a pretty wide gap
Sure.
of time here.
Sure. So again, back in 2018, you still had FIG in there. So our step in was with Flatiron Dragados to say they needed to remove FIG from the project and bring in a new designer. So when the new designer came in and we finally saw their design, we had the independent reviewer working with that as well. So as soon as we have a signed and sealed copy from that independent reviewer, that's when we share it with Flatiron Dragados. So I think that time period that you're mentioning there was two designers, and our step in was to remove FIG designers from the project.
Thank you, Valente. Thank you. So with that, I'd like to close, and going back to what you heard from Chairman Hunter in regards to the conversation we had in the back before the press conference started. And that's what I want to leave you with. And that is, I made him aware that I was going to be reaching out to our delegation to schedule. You've heard a lot about meetings that go on, right, between everyone back here, as they should. But the meetings that need to begin publicly are what's going to start happening. And that is going to involve our state delegation, of course, TxDOT, we'll figure that out, but the information will be coming from TxDOT. But absolutely our state delegation, as, they are our elected state officials, because I believe that we can have a million meetings in the world and come up here and talk to you about all of those phone calls, Zooms, and in-person meetings. You need to hear it. We're at a point where we need to be, all of us, as unified as we are, and we come before you today, we need to be transparent with you. We're going to start those meetings, and I'll be releasing that information. My office will be reaching out to coordinate once a month at least. If not sooner, I don't know. We'll figure that out. But my promise to you is that you will be hearing publicly what is going on and how this is moving about, because it is of paramount. It is paramount that you all know, and that we know. When we know. We can't keep doing these. Nobody wants to keep running around, chasing a press conference. That's not the way this is going to work. So we will be very transparent, and you'll be hearing soon from my office in terms of how that will work and when the first one will take place. So with that, we thank you all very much for being here today. We appreciate it, and we look forward to, again, working in unity to move forward and making sure that everything gets done as it should. Thank you.